Alright guys, today we're going to be talking about the poison flying type Pokemon, Crobat. Now this OG has been around since the Generation 2 Gold and Silver. He's been around for so long, and he is just such a cool Pokemon, and there's so many things that you can do with this guy. Great shiny, good stat spread, great move pool, just a lot of things that he brings to the table. So let's go ahead, get in, and start looking at his stats. So his defense stat is going to be 80, and his special defense is going to mirror that, also at 80. So this isn't a crazy high stat, but it's definitely not low. So this is kind of somewhere in the middle ground area. So he's got an okay amount of bulk. He'll be able to take a hit or two, but it's not like he's going to be surviving a massive onslaught from things. So just keep that in mind. His shining stat, though, is going to be his speed stat. This comes in at 130, which is crazy good, and he's going to outspeed a lot of things in the game. In fact, most things that aren't a legendary. So he definitely has some viability because of his speed. So let's go ahead and move down to the attack portion. Now, if you look at the attack, he's got a physical attack of 90 and a special attack of 80. Now, his physical attack at 90 is definitely something we can work with. It's not super low. It's actually kind of like the higher middle, and he has a good complement of abilities and moves that he can use. Now the special attack, he does have some special attacks that are in there, and you may want to build a special attack version of this, especially to use something like a Venoshock, but for the most part, I'm going to stick with the physical attack build. And then his HP is 85, again, that kind of middle ground with the defense and the special defense, 80, 80, 85, so he's not going to be crazy bulky, but he does have a little bit that you can work with there. Okay guys, let's go ahead and talk about the abilities that we have at Crobat's disposal, and that is going to be the hidden ability Infiltrator, and the other ability is Inner Focus. Now in this guide, we are going to be using both of these at different points for different builds, because both actually have some viability for this Pokemon. Now Infiltrator is really nice because if the opponent sets up some kind of a screen, light screen, reflect, Aurora Veil, this Infiltrator ability is actually going to allow this Pokemon, and only this Pokemon, not your partners, it's going to allow this Pokemon to bypass the screen to do the normal amount of damage he would do, instead of having the stat reduction of 30 or 50%. Same thing with Protect. If they use Protect, he'll actually still damage the Pokemon normally, instead of getting blocked by the Protect barrier. So this is a really cool offensive attack or ability that you can put on him, especially if you're doing a full-out offensive build. The other ability is Inner Focus, and Inner Focus is actually really cool too because it prevents flinching. So this is amazing, especially if you're going to use him for like a Tailwind setter or some kind of a support Pokemon. If they switch out to an Incineroar and then the Incineroar uses Fake Out, you will not be flinched. So you can get off your Tailwind, you can get off your Toxic, or whatever ability or move you're trying to do, you'll be able to do it without the worry of flinching. The other benefit to Inner Focus is it actually makes Intimidate completely null and void for this Pokemon. If a Pokemon with Intimidate comes out, i.e. a Landorus or an Incineroar, the Inner Focus will pop and it will block the Intimidate, and you will not get a stat reduction. So if you have a physical attack oriented Crobat, he is protected against that. So that's the other secondary benefit to Inner Focus. Alright, so if we're looking at his resistances, because of his flying typing, he is going to be immune to ground. So that's always great. There's a lot of ground attacks out there, and this is fantastic. So ground, he is immune to, and then he does have resistance to fighting, poison, bug, grass, and fairy. So he's got 6 total resistances, 1 being an immune, and there's a lot of fairly common typings in there. I mean, fairy and fighting are all over the place. Poison definitely has a presence, grass has a presence, and even bug has a presence. So these are really good resistances for this Pokemon to have. Now moving over to his weaknesses, we do have to look at this. There is the rock, psychic, electric, and ice type weaknesses that he has, and these are all going to be a 2x weakness. So just be careful, because ice is definitely a little bit more abundant, especially with the Tundra dropping right now. But none of these are an uncommon typing, so just beware of what he is weak against and what is out on the field. However, with some of the builds that we have coming up, we have a little bit of padding to it, so we've got some workarounds that we're going to go into. Hey guys, if you're liking this video or it's helping you at all, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out. Also, feel free to come by the Twitch channel where we do mostly Pokemon Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lots of raids, shiny hunting, battles, you name it. But let's go ahead and get back to the rest of the video. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get into the builds here. So again, this is going to be a poison flying type Pokemon, and his speed stat is that 130, so we're going to take advantage of that and put 252 EVs into speed, because that is crazy, and we do want him to be able to outspeed pretty much everything here, especially for an offensive type set. We are going to put 252 EVs into attack as well, because we are going to max out his attack as much as we can. With that 90 base attack, it's not crazy low, but we do want to make sure it gets as much padding to it as possible, especially for an offensive set. And then the rest of the EVs you can throw into whatever. I just put them into HP here. Now, as far as moveset, for stab bonus, you could either do Brave Bird, Dual Wing Beat, you could even do something like Fly, you know, so that you increase your survivability, you escape from being attacked for a turn, come back down, do damage, etc. I'm a big fan of Dual Wing Beat here. That is the one that I'm preferring to use. But you can also do Brave Bird, because Brave Bird does just ridiculous damage. The only problem is you are going to take damage in the process as well. So that is a concern, so just keep that in the back of your mind. As far as poison type stab, we're going to get the Cross Poison. This is basically his best physical poison move that he has. So Cross Poison is where we're going to land here. Now for the other two moves, there's a couple different things you can choose from. U-Turn, Taunt, and Leech Life. I'm more of a big fan of using U-Turn and Taunt both. U-Turn giving you your pivot ability, still going to do some good super effective damage on Psychic or Dark type Pokemon, which is really nice. Taunt is great because it's going to stop any kind of support Pokemon from setting things up or doing a Trick Room and so on and so forth. But Leech Life does have its possibilities as well. One, it gives you a little bit more coverage if you do take the bug typing, and it will also allow you to gain some HP back when you do some damage with it. So it does have that possibility as well. Again, for this set, I'm mostly using U-Turn and Taunt though. Ability item in nature, Infiltrator is the way we're going to go here, so we maximize our damage all the time, get through those screens, bypass the protect, and we are going to maximize his speed with the Jolly Nature. Now as far as item, you can use Sharp Beak, Expert Belt, even a Choice Band here. However, I would stay away from the Life Orb. With his 90 attack power, I do feel like there should be some better Pokemon, some better attacking Pokemon on your team that could utilize the Life Orb just a little bit better and more efficiently than the Crobat can. So in this next set here, we're going to make this a little bit more of a support build. So we are still going to go ahead and have the EVs pretty much the same as the last set, 252 into attack, 252 into speed. However, we're going to go ahead and change up the moveset and put Tailwind, Cross Poison, Taunt, and Toxic. Now Toxic is the one here that you could supplement out, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So we're going to make sure that Tailwind is going to give us our speed advantages on the terrain here, so that we're always going to be faster than the opposition. Cross Poison, obviously this is for stab, it's for damage. Taunt is going to be to shut down the Trick Rooms mostly on this set, so that when you use your Tailwind, you don't have to worry about Trick Room reversing it on you, or if they just come out as a Trick Room team, you just taunt them right away, and you don't even have to set up Tailwind, so you're just good to go. And now Toxic here, it does a little bit of chip damage and a little bit more every turn. Obviously this builds up on itself. However, it is a little bit harder to maximize damage output by just using Toxic. So with the attack EV still at 252, you could also supplement this for a flying type stab move, especially considering Poison will do 0 damage to a steel type Pokemon. Toxic won't even hit it. So with Metagross in the game and a couple other things, you may want to substitute this out for a flying move. This is completely up to you, but I definitely am building this one around Tailwind and Taunt. As far as ability item in nature, in this case, I do want Inner Focus, because I want to make sure I do not get flinched at the beginning with a fake out when I'm trying to use my Tailwind. So Inner Focus will stop that from happening, plus it'll protect against any kind of Intimidate drops as well. Jolly is going to be the speed nature. We're going to go with that again here. And then for item, I would do either a Focus Sash or a Choice Scarf. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Choice Scarf myself, but I do know some people like this option here, just to make sure he's 100% faster than anything on the field. But I'm pretty much going with Focus Sash on this, because he's not exactly frail, but he's not durable either, and a lot of things can one-shot him. So with the Focus Sash, this is going to ensure that he definitely gets the Tailwind set up and probably has his second turn to even do something else. So Focus Sash is really where I lie. Okay, so this final set here is going to be a little bit different, and this is basically going to be a survivability set. So we're going to add a little bit more bulk to the Pokemon, and he's not going to be living through the entire match. He's not going to have the bulk of like a Dusclops, but we can give him some more survivability, most of the time surviving 2 or 3 hits instead of just the 1. However, there are times, like in the video here, where he goes through the whole match. So attack we're going to do 252 into, and defense and special defense we're going to go ahead and put 100 each. And then 42 into HP, and speed we're going to supplement only 12 into. So we're really focusing more on survivability here than speed. Jumping over to the moveset, this isn't going to be anything we haven't seen before. We're going to do Tailwind, Cross Poison, Taunt, whatever physical flying move you want. I just put Dual Wing Beat hit down, but you could definitely use Fly here. Because we're working on survivability, though, I do not recommend the Brave Bird. That is going to give you more damage to yourself, so it's going to reduce the amount of time you're on the field. So I would do either Fly or Dual Wing Beat here, and or Toxic. So you could use the Toxic, but if you want to make sure you don't get stuck in a predicament where you're fighting a Steel type Pokemon and you can do nothing, add that Flying type move in here. I will say that I have run into that, so I have supplemented the Flying type move in myself here. And this build, just so you guys know, is the build that I'm using in the video. So that is something to think about. Okay, guys, let's move over to ability item in nature. So for the ability here, I do prefer Inner Focus. That way I can make sure I get my support moves off like Tailwind without getting flinched, without the worry of getting faked out at the beginning, and so on and so forth. You could do Infiltrator here as well, especially since the attack is 252. You could do Infiltrator, maximize your damage output. This is really up to you how you want to do this. For the nature, you could do Adamant or Jolly. I kind of went with Adamant here, but you could do Jolly, and you can also put a defensive nature on if you really like. With defense and special defense both at the same base stat, you could do either or. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. As far as items, you could do Sharp Beak, Expert Belt, or Focus Sash. I do find that with this set, and this is the set in the video, Focus Sash is kind of rendered not useful because it just never gets used. You're always surviving, 1 or 2 or 3 hits, so it doesn't even matter. You never get to use it. So maybe you want to supplement something like a Sharp Beak in here or an Expert Belt just to make sure you get more damage out. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for the Crobat video. Thanks for hanging out. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, just put them down in the comment section down below. I will get back to everything, or feel free to stop into the Twitch. I'd love to talk about your builds, and, if you want to have a battle, I'm always open for that. But thank you so much for hanging out, guys. I hope I see you next time. But until then, take care.